welcome to episode 51 of the Fourth and Skol podcast. As always, we are your hosts. I'm Sam.
And my name is Pat.
And Pat, what a game against the Jaguars. I don't think I've had a Vikings game this season or even in the last few years where I've been so I was shaking for a bunch of that game. It was frustrating, but it was also competitive, but it shouldn't have been competitive. Yeah. It was just a wild ride.
It really was. I've got two facets of mind when it comes to a game like this.
Yeah.
You expect to beat a 1-11 now, 1-11 team,
yeah.
Blow them out of the water.
Yeah.
Defensively, yes, Kendricks was out, I know, but he doesn't control any of the offense.
True.
Right?
True.
So I think from an offensive perspective, I would have liked to see, I don't know, more shots, more aggressiveness, anything of that nature.
We didn't really get the chance to record a Jags preview game, which is unfortunate. Just again, life situations, COVID. We're living in a weird world.
Yep.
Unprecedented times here.
It is what it is.
But no, so I came in ready. I watched the Jags Browns game, or from the week previous, and I was like, oh my gosh, this Jags team is actually pretty good. And I was gonna come on the podcast and say that.
Do they have Mike Glennon?
Mike Glennon can sling the football. He was especially if you go back in that Browns game, he was putting the ball in these tight pockets, throwing these seam routes that were just right where only the tight end could get it, just threading the needle between two defenders. He was throwing some amazing passes, and I was like, oh. And then they have this running back, what is it, James Robinson? That dude, he was running at will. And it would almost look like Derrick Henry. And I was like, what is going on? Why? I didn't understand watching that game why the Jags were going into our game at 1-10. They won their first game of the season, and then they've just been on a losing streak ever since. But
right.
Especially with Mike Glennon at the helm, they're a very capable team. And I was going to say this is all the trimmings of a trap game because
don't get too excited about Mike Glennon here.
Well, no, hold on.
Okay.
So this has all the trimmings of a trap game where it's we're playing a team that's coming in 1-11. We've won 4 of the last 5. Cowboys was a trap game. But we're thinking, we're already thinking, oh, we're in the playoff picture, even though and so I think that to a point this was, but the Kendrick situation was so I was so as he's warming up, fully padded, minutes away from kickoff, he pulls his calf.
Yeah.
Have you checked the injury report since then?
I haven't.
Do you want to pull that up real quick and see if he's been on the injury report these last few days? So he pulls his calf minutes before kickoff, and it's oh my God. And then what does Mike Glennon do? He exploits that seam route in the middle of the field on the very first play, and it goes for 25 yards to the tight end, something that he couldn't have been able to do if Kendricks was playing. Do you have that injury report up?
Did not practice on Wednesday.
He didn't practice. No. So and they declared him out before kick. He got injured 5 minutes before kickoff, and they declared him out just a few minutes later. So I don't know if something happened, something significant. He pulled something.
I think I was watching some other Vikings podcast or whatever, reading up on some stuff, and he has actually had a calf injury in the past.
Yeah. So maybe they were just being careful with it?
In regards to do not practice now?
Well, do not practice now. Don't play against the Jags.
That I don't know, but I just know in the past when he has missed a little bit of time, it's been because of calf injury is what I'm referring to. So it's this kind of more of not a lingering, but it's a prominent thing that comes up.
I have some really mixed emotions about how this Vikings-Jags game went. It was a fun game to watch. It was a competitive game, but it shouldn't have been. I feel like we're a better team.
Yeah, of course we are.
And so it's
that's what's frustrating.
So why does this game go to overtime?
That's what's frustrating, Sam.
So why does this game go to overtime?
And I know that any given Sunday, I think I say that every single week, any given Sunday, right? You never know if you're going to win or lose. You just don't know. But it's just frustrating. It's just what is the thing that we're missing? Why can't I sit here? Why can't I be happy right now?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Kirk Cousins aside, that's not even a thing because he's been playing phenomenal. I have nothing bad to say.
We have Dalvin Cook is. We have Jefferson who is closing in on a bunch of different records. We can talk about him later in the podcast. Thielen's pulling in more touchdowns. Our offense is set. Our offensive line,
the line and the coaching, I think, is the biggest issue.
The line of the coaching,
yes.
The Vikings coaching,
yes.
Mike Zimmer's Vikings coaching,
yeah, dude. Yeah, we've talked about this before. There's one thing that's missing when you look at every game like we've done in the past. I just glanced beforehand here. Some of them were within 7 points to 5 to 3 point game swings that could have gone either way. We could be sitting at the top of the conference, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. So here's where I reconcile that is So Kendricks was out.
Okay, let me rephrase. I'm talking offensive coaching.
Offensive
something from the offensive end of things. And again, and the reason why I pull Zimmer into that is because he's ultimately the head coach.
He's ultimately responsible.
And whether he doesn't have the full hand in the pot, but he's got a hand in the pot.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I'm referring to. The defense, I'm giving a pass. Kendricks was out. We've had injuries. We've had players left. All that stuff.
I want to put a pin in that in the conversation about the Vikings offense because I just want to applaud Mike Zimmer and his defense. So he was playing earlier this week on Sunday without Kendricks. Barr's been out. Hunter's been out. Linval Joseph is gone. Everson Griffin's gone. Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes is gone. So like literally the only two people that had played on Sunday that were starters last year was Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, our safeties, and that was it.
Yeah, because Hunter's out. Yeah, exactly.
Because Hunter's out. Yeah, it's like we're playing.
What about Kendricks? Did you say Kendricks?
Kendricks was out.
Oh, you're referring to just. Oh, you're referring to just Sunday, last week. Okay, just last week. Sorry.
We literally only had two defensive players that played last year, and it's just like Eric Wilson was on the team, but he wasn't a starter.
Yeah.
You know? So, which I still stand by the fact that I think that he could replace Anthony Barr and we could reclaim some salary cap space. I think that's trade. I think that we trade him. So I don't know what's going on with the offense. I don't know what's missing. I think that it's the uninspired play calling. I really do.
I think 100%.
I mean we're executing fairly well what Kubiak is calling.
We're the number one team in the league in the red zone.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're number one in the league.
We're executing pretty. It's just uninspired, you know.
It is uninspired. And it will only get you so far, in my opinion.
I know. Like we're not seeing any of like even the Kevin Stefanski creative. Like his
I love watching the Browns.
Dude, the Browns are the best. Like Kevin Stefanski for Coach of the Year. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah. And you can even see Mayfield and all of them. Like it's a fun offense.
And I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but I was talking to someone. Can you imagine? Back when we hired John DeFilippo, Zimmer wanted to promote Stefanski, and he didn't want, and Zimmer also didn't want. He wanted to keep Teddy. He didn't want to bring in Kirk. Can you imagine if we had a Teddy Bridgewater, Kevin Stefanski offense? Yeah. Just running like what he's doing with Baker Mayfield, getting out of the pocket, running around, but Teddy's even shiftier than that. You know? And it's just just can you imagine? It would be Russell Wilson-esque.
Right.
Like
sure.
it would be.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be more versatile. It's interesting.
And explosive
for sure.
So when Teddy had his last full year with us, I think his touchdown to interception ratio was almost 1-to-1. It wasn't great. You know, he wasn't, but he was still developing as a player. And I think that he's gotten better. We saw it in the Carolina game. But yeah, this Jaguars game was fun to watch. It was competitive, but I shouldn't have been sitting on my couch shaking out in are we going to pull this out? It was the 1-10 Jaguars. Like, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Not to mention we missed 2 PATs.
Yeah.
Why?
So I think I know. I think I have the answer to that.
To the PATs?
Yeah.
You did. You did. Yeah. You know what? Go for it.
So
you did have a theory.
We cut Austin Cutting earlier. Just this past week, he had been injured. He'd been out for a few games, but he's our long snapper, right? Yeah. Kicking isn't just on the kicker. Like it's a whole operation. Like the snapper needs to put 3.5 rotations on the snap, getting back to the holder. The holder really should just be able to put it down, but really what the holder needs to focus on is the angle at which he's holding the ball.
Right.
That has an effect on how the ball is kicked too, and then the kicker needs to execute as well. So it's not just on the. A lot of people put the blame on the kicker. It's a whole operation, and we have a relatively new long snapper, and so I don't want to put that on Dan Bailey. I know he probably took his lickings in the media, but I think that would be a little unfair to him, and they just need time to operate. And I don't know why we cut Austin Cutting. I know he's been injured. I'm not sure if it's just going to be an injury that they determine would be recurring or what, but it'd be so. The other thing that I want to talk to you about that happened in the NFL this week, Carson Wentz got benched for Jalen Hurts. I want to get your thoughts on that because this is literally we're seeing the transition from the Peyton Manning style quarterback to the
all
Russell
across
Wilson.
All across the league. Yeah. I'd say that's exciting for me. That was the Eagles Packers game, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And that wasn't on TV.
No, it was, but it was on at the same time as the Cardinals Rams game, and
that we didn't get coverage for that. At least I didn't.
I think it was on channel. I think it was on CBS.
I didn't. At my parents' place, we didn't get that.
Maybe not. But anyway, Vikings fans were probably more interested in the Arizona Cardinals game. Which,
I'm sure Eagles fans were just loving it.
You think Eagles fans are loving?
Of course.
So Eagles fans are out on Carson Wentz, right?
I think so.
You know,
here's the hard thing though, is because I think from an outside perspective, I think we can argue that Wentz does not have much support, a supporting cast.
Yeah,
and that's tough.
So it's funny. So the Eagles had the draft pick right before the Vikings.
Yeah,
and they drafted Jalen Reagor.
Yep.
And I guess now, since they didn't take Justin Jefferson, like there's infighting in that locker room that they didn't take Justin Jefferson. How bad do you
coaching
feel?
And stuff?
Huh?
Between coaches?
No, between players. Like players are pissed at the coaching staff and the management.
Oh, just over that simple
Just over
fact?
that. Yeah.
Oh, frick. Has Jalen Reagor been doing much? Like I said, this year I've been.
I mean, he's been contributing. He's like their only wide receiver, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting.
I think it's exciting. I'm always for new rookies coming in. It's just for me, it's just fun to watch as like a fan.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts. Was he Ohio State? Where did he come from?
Wrong guy to ask.
You're all in on Justin Fields, so I just figured,
that's the only guy
figured you're an Ohio State guy. I don't know.
I don't think he went to Ohio State.
No, maybe
I'm
some
curious.
school in the South.
Anyways,
so I heard some rumors rumbling around today about the Colts and that Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett.
Anyways.
That Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett, both their contracts.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, they both end. Yeah. So they're thinking that there might be a Carson Wentz and
I'm all for that.
And Frank Reich.
I love
reunion.
that.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I think that would be the best situation
for Indy
would
be great.
I think that would be the best
supporting
situation
cast. They've got a good defense. That would just be a really good fit. A fresh start. Fresh start.
Well, and I think Frank Reich and Carson Wentz get each other on a, I think they're more cut from the same cloth than Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. So I think that there'd be a little bit more synergy there. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So this coming week, the Vikings have Tampa Bay, and this is a very interesting game. So right now the Vikings are sitting in. Hey, we didn't even talk about it. We're in the playoff picture right now. Stop the count.
Stop the count. Stop the count.
Oh Lord. No, so we're in the 7th seed for the playoffs, which is the new seed. So I wonder if people are going to look down on the 7th seed. You know, I think that 7th seed needs to win a game in the playoffs for it to be legitimized.
Here's one thing I want to say. This year, I think due to COVID and no training camp and all that stuff, everybody in the entire league is fraudulent. Everybody's a fraud.
It's just a fake year.
Everybody's a fraud.
It's just fake.
Who did the Steelers just play and lose?
The Washington football team, which I want to talk about that if we have just a second to talk about that.
Yeah, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Seattle just lost to the Giants. Well, I'm not saying you can't have games like that.
I mean, look at the Steelers' schedule. Like they play.
If you look at it, it's extremely soft.
But Alex Smith. I talked about Kevin Stefanski for Coach of the Year. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year, hands down.
Yeah,
hands down. He was literally like near death. Mm-hmm. Like he was going to die from his injuries.
Like 14 surgeries.
It's just nuts.
Yeah.
And then he's out there and he's executing so at the end of the first half, like the clock was running, they didn't have any timeouts, and it was 4th down, and they wanted to kick a field goal, and there was only a few seconds, and it was the clock was gonna tick out. What does Alex Smith do? 14-year veteran. He grabs the football, runs it off to the sideline, so there's no ball in play for the refs to spot. So the refs have to administratively stop the clock.
I didn't see
to get a ball in play, this. And that gave the Redskins enough time, or the Washington football team enough time to get their kicking team out.
That's actually amazing.
Totally illegal, but it worked, and they got
penalty or anything.
No penalty. They got 3 points out of it.
Did the Steelers or did something after the fact be like they're going to look into this investigation?
Well, yeah. So obviously they were calling for that, but Alex was like, "Hey, I was just trying to expedite, swapping the balls out."
Is that any different than when a runner is trying to get the first down and clock is running and the defensive linemen are all laying on them? Is that any different?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm saying it's almost one and the same.
Yeah. I don't know.
A form of delaying the game, if you will.
I think it's just so he hasn't been playing in 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
He comes back. He's the 3rd string guy coming back. And it's just like, well, he's probably the best one, but I don't want to.
They went through Haskins.
They went through Haskins, who's, by the way, like, on the way out. He's gone. He was not
Rosen.
He was not Rivera's pick.
Next
and so
Rosen.
Rivera was like, out of here.
Yeah.
And then who was it? Josh Allen. I think it was Josh Allen because he was with Ron Rivera in Carolina. I don't know if he's injured or what. I think
talking Josh Allen from the Bills, are you?
No. I know. Did I say Josh Allen? What did I meant to say? It's an Allen. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and so he got hurt, right? And so that led the way for Alex Smith to have his comeback, and he's just doing incredible things.
I mean, I think they're sitting atop the NFC East right now.
I think it might be the Giants. Which
is it all?
The Giants beat Seattle. What?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
That's
what I'm trying to say. And I don't even think Daniel Jones.
Wasn't playing.
That's what I'm saying.
Colt McCoy.
Everybody's a fraud. Everybody's a fraud. And if there's anyone who has the best chance to maybe, I'm gonna say it, make a splash. As much as I hate to say it, because I don't like playing as poorly as we kind of have, sitting at 6-6, starting 1-5, to go all the way. I would rather just be this dominant force all the way through. And I know it's unrealistic, but
that's why you got to just look at the season as just like one long preseason for 2021. You know,
exactly, you do. Yeah,
and our defense is young, getting a bunch of reps, and they're going to come back next year, and it's going to be solid. So anyway, so we're sitting in the number 7th playoff seed, right?
Guess who's in the 6th seed?
6th seed, Tampa Bay.
This is the biggest game of the year.
This is the biggest game. I would agree with you on that. So we are one game behind Tampa Bay. So if we beat them, we have a tied record, but we have the head-to-head against them. Okay. So we'll slide into that 6th seed, and it's you know, and there's been some rumors of some infighting in Tampa Bay between Bruce Arians and old TB12 himself.
Yeah. And the issue, I think Bruce Arians is calling out Tom Brady for stuff that is not really his fault. Like, if I'm not mistaken, he's just drawing up more deep bombs and stuff like that, rather than Tom's usual pitch and catch bomb.
Bruce Arians, like, his whole shtick is like, I'm not going to do any pre-snap motions.
Yeah.
We're not going to do any pre-snap reads.
This is the play we're doing, and we're doing it. Yeah.
It's like, can't do that in 2020, Bruce.
There's something about these coaches, I don't get it.
But the thing is, they're loaded with talent. They have Antonio Brown, who came out of in suspension, I suppose you'd call it.
Whatever.
Gronk, who came out of WWE retirement. And not to mention Mike Evans.
But we've seen in the NFL that
and then Ronald Jones. But Ronald Jones hurdles his way down as well, too. Like, they're a legitimate team. And on their defensive side of the ball, Mr. Antoine Winfield Jr. himself. We're in Tampa Bay.
So even though the Bucs are 7-5, this is probably going to be the biggest test, I think, of the year.
For the Vikings?
Yes.
I completely agree.
Because we've only beaten one 500-plus team this year. That was the Packers in whatever week that was. Yeah. We've only beat one. Yeah. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying, like, this is going to probably be our biggest test.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean,
because let's be real.
But we were competitive against.
No, of course. Please don't look into that comment.
Yeah,
don't look into that comment. I'm just stating a pure and utter fact that this is a big game.
Yeah.
Because when you kind of look at it from the Packer game that sparked our kind of run here, I'd say the Lions, the Bears, the Cowboys, Panthers, Jags, pretty mediocre as their records imply. You know.
Yeah.
So I am very curious to see how Cousins and the offense does step up to this challenge, in my opinion.
So their defense, like I said, they have some playmakers on there. They got Antoine Winfield Jr., they got Whitehead on the other side. Their defense they're above average. They allow 23.3 points per game. And so it'll be an interesting test. I wonder where the Vikings offense ranks on here. I'm sorry, I'm pulling this up.
I'll pull it up.
Well, the Vikings average score is 26.6 per game. So we'll see. I think it'll be a good matchup. And then on the opposite side of the football, Tampa Bay, their average offense, they put up 28.7 points. So it'll be a good test for our defense. It'll be a great test for our offense.
Right.
And I hope we can string it together, because if we can win this game, like, a lot of people were like, all right, if we beat Jacksonville and Arizona loses, we're in the playoff picture, and I have something to believe in again. But I think that this week is really the test of, is this a team you can believe in or not? Because if we can't beat Tampa Bay, we're not going to get very far in the playoffs. Yeah. But I will say this: if we don't beat Tampa Bay and we stay in the number 7 seed in the play, and we stop the count, and the playoffs started, with the seeding, our path through the playoffs would be, get this, through the Green Bay Packers for the first week in the playoffs. And then after that would be through the New Orleans Saints. And, like, there's no better path through the playoffs than that.
Play those two?
Than to play those two.
Let's just focus on the Bucs right now, Sam. I don't know. You're getting way too ahead of yourself.
I know, but I'm saying, like, if we lose to the Bucs, it's not going to bode well. But hey, at least we're still in the 7th seed,
right? And at the very least, I mean, of all years for them to add an extra seed, let's take advantage of this year. But it's going to be like this going forward, isn't it? This isn't just a 1-year thing, is it?
No, this is the new
permanent change.
Agreement.
Yeah, this is a permanent change. Yeah.
And I think that it was in lieu of more games. I think the NFL wanted more games, and I think the players wanted more. What I don't know what. So this was their
win-win-win all around type.
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly.
Right.
But I mean, with the salary cap going down next year, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
I think it's a solid drop.
Yeah, it's like $20 million.
Yeah, $20 million. Yeah, that's
yeah. I mean, I think it's going from like 198 to like 188 or
178. I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But like, some tough decisions are going to have to be made.
This is a noon game, right?
Yeah, this is a noon game.
Yeah, noon. Yeah. Okay.
Which, by the way, it'll be the weather forecast for Tampa Bay on Sunday at noon, rainy. So that bodes well for us.
That does actually.
It does. Yeah. It's.
The other thing too
Kendricks can
the
play.
other thing too is, sorry, someone's calling me. I lost my thought there. What were we talking about?
Rain and how that bodes well for the Vikings, and I'm hoping Eric Kendricks can play.
Okay. So going back to the Jags game, okay? Talk about sloppy.
Dude, it was
okay. So there were quite a few turnovers. So I know Kirk had the interception, and then did Cook fumble?
Yeah, so Cook fumbled.
I'm getting my games mixed up.
Oh my gosh, Pat! No, this is exactly what happened. It was the last play of the third quarter, and we ran the ball, and we were on the half-yard line.
Oh,
we were on the half-yard line,
about to score,
about to score. The Jags defense has their hands on their hips. They're panting, and I'm like, we got them on their heels. We can't let this thing go to the quarter break. We just got to jam it in.
Right.
What do the Vikings do? They just stand there, wait for the quarter break. TV goes to commercial. I'm like, God dang it, here we go. Yeah. Sure enough, first play of the fourth quarter from the half-yard line, Dalvin Cook fumbles, and it was I don't know who's to blame. I think if just watching it, I think Dalvin Cook is to blame. He didn't.
Oh, it was the botched handoff. Yeah, That's right.
And but we ended up getting the safety though.
We did get a safety on that. Yeah,
which was which was nice. That was nice. But
just the
turnover
game.
that I want to talk about is gosh, a horrible game.
Made up for our 2 missed extra points.
How about though the Harrison Smith interception in overtime?
Yeah, that was huge.
That was awesome.
I still wonder what Mike Glennon was doing because there was pressure coming, but he completely overthrew him. And I don't know if he was in anticipation of getting drilled because the guy was actually wide open.
Yeah,
he was. He overshot him to the right. So it could have gone either way, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I do have another question for you. Okay, so we're sitting there at 3rd and 1 on the 41, maybe that would make it a 51-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Is that? I don't even know. But 3rd and 1, rather than I don't know, running it and trying to pick up the first down in 4 yards maybe, or maybe a slant route just to stop the clock type of thing. I don't know. Instead, we are kicking a 51-yard field goal, 52 I think it was. Yeah. Dan Bailey's already missed 2 extra points and it just looks like one of those off-rhythm days.
Exactly.
Everybody has that, right?
Sure.
Just looked like one of those days. But instead, they did a 30-yard bomb to Adam Thielen on single coverage, and I don't know if they just thought the matchup was great or they just wanted to take the shot. But it was kind of a head-scratching moment for me.
I mean, we sit here and we roast Gary Kubiak about uninspired play calling, but on a 3rd and 1, when Dalvin Cook is in the backfield and everybody and their brother expects you to run it, you take a shot to Adam Thielen. I don't hate that. You shake it up. But you're right. The game's on. But no, you're absolutely right.
We didn't need to be down to the 20,
game is on the line, and we have the game is on the line, and we have.
We just needed a 45-yard field goal. Was all I thought was reasonable to ask for.
I thought it was funny in overtime when after the Harrison Smith interception, they kept running it, trying to get more yards. And it's we get up to the 3-yard line, and then they finally let Dan Bailey kick it.
I know. I was how long are we going to keep running?
It's I don't want anybody to fumble. I don't want any interceptions. Something's going to go wrong. We just need to kick it and be done with it.
Right.
So, but it all worked out in the end, and man, it's this Tampa Bay game. I can't overstate how important this game is going to be for the rest of our season. It's going to set the tone going in. We have we have Tampa Bay. I don't know which order we have these in, but then we also have the Lions and the Saints on Christmas Day. I do know that, and then the Bears again. So I mean, the season's right here.
So we're not technically out of it, even if we lose.
No.
Who do the Cardinals play? Is it a division rival?
I don't know. So the Cardinals do play some. They have. I know
they play the Giants.
So
let's say that they win.
But but the Giants just beat Seattle.
Stop. So let's say that the Cards win. They'll be 7-6. Okay.
Yep.
If we lose, we'll be 6-8.
Yep. So the Cards will be back.
7. Excuse me. So we're basically going to flip spots. Yep. Okay, and then if the Bears win, then they're in the mix again, and Detroit, San Francisco, like literally so much can change from here in the last 4 games. The rest of the games.
Because they have 2 division games coming, as do we.
Yeah,
right?
as do we, yeah.
But they've lost, I think, 2 or 3 division games already. So, God help me if we lose to the Lions or the Bears. But the Lions pulled out a win over the Bears.
They did.
When is Matt Nagy going to get fired? When do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen at the end of the season? Do you think it's going to happen?
Does he deserve to get fired?
I don't know.
I think that's premature. Give him another year, or keep him there for another 10.
Because was he the offensive coordinator or for Kansas City, or was he the quarterback's coach?
I think QB coach sounds like it's ringing a bell.
Dude, Eric Bieniemy, he's gonna get a job this year. Like, there's no way he doesn't. The other person that they're talking about getting a job is the San Francisco defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh.
That big, Robert Saleh. Yeah,
Jack dude. Looked like he could suit up.
He could be one of those where it's either going to work well or it's really just not.
I don't think it's. I think he would actually. I think he'd be a good college coach. I don't.
Yeah,
think
that's what I mean.
I don't think he'd be a good NFL.
Yeah.
I think he has a lot of hype about him, and hype gets college kids motivated.
If you're listening, please use this as pure motivation and prove us wrong.
Yeah. Please don't come beat us.
Please don't. Yeah.
Please don't eat me.
I still want a family.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It'll be. There's just so much to love about this game. I think it's going to be a really good game. Like, their offense matches up well with our defense, and our offense matches up well with their defense. I think it's going to be very complimentary. Mm-hmm. I think they just had it'll be tough. They just got blown out, but they didn't get blown out. Patrick Mahomes had quite a statistical day against Tampa Bay, but they kept themselves within the game for a good chunk of it. But then they had their bye week. Last week was their bye. I don't remember
what week that was.
It was 2 weeks ago.
I'm a little removed from NFL games.
Yeah, it's all right. So 2 weeks ago, Patrick Mahomes threw for like 400 yards in the first half.
Was that against them?
Yeah.
That was against them. Okay.
Yeah. And then they had their bye week, so they had a whole week to think and stew about how bad they did. So I hope it doesn't come back to bite us. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, rainy day, Tampa Bay, Delvin Cook on the ground. I mean, they have Ronald Jones, so it'll just be an interesting game. I think if Eric Kendricks plays, is going to be the game changer.
Yeah, he might as well sit out if it's borderline him playing. I'd rather have him sit out the rest of the week.
Yeah,
so he can play.
Yeah,
obviously.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, join us next time on the 4th and Skol podcast. We'll be reviewing what's hopefully a Vikings win in Tampa Bay. And until then, Skol Vikings.
Skol.